Hello, BookTube. Welcome back. My name is David, and today on Poetry Thursday, I'm going to do my talking about the last two parts of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. This was my June Medieval Monthly pick, and hopefully all of you enjoyed reading it as much as I did. So, for those that don't remember, part one, we saw the Green Knight appearing at a banquet in Arthur's court and demanding to have a contest of trading blows. So nobody wanted to step up because this was a big hulking guy. He was intimidating. He was all spooky and green. Arthur was going to go ahead and do it. And then Gawain pleaded to be the one to take his spot. And so Gawain chopped his head off. The knight grabbed his head and said, "In a year and a day, find me, and I'll repay you in kind." Part two, Gawain is spending time at King Arthur's court, and then he leaves and goes off and starts searching high and low to find this Green Knight, and has no luck until several days before the very end of the year. And then he comes across a castle and is welcomed there by the Lord and Lady. And so that's kind of where we pick up now. So in part three, Gawain is staying with the Lord and Lady in their castle. And the Lord is open and inviting and welcoming, and decides to beg Gawain to stay. And Gawain is like, "Hey, I'd love to. You've been a great host. I enjoyed myself last night, but I need to find this Green Knight." And the Lord responds to him and says, "Hey, you're in luck. It's not very far from here. You can stay here and rest and regain your strength for the next couple of days, and I can take you there." That may have been at the end of part two. And so part three is Gawain staying with the Lord for 3 days. And each day they make a bargain that the Lord will give Gawain whatever he receives throughout the day, and Gawain repays him in kind, so does the same thing. So the Lord goes out and hunts all 3 of those days, and has great luck. Gets I believe, a hart on the first day, and a boar on the second day, and a fox on the third. And Gawain is visited by the lady of the castle, who comes and essentially tries to seduce him. At least it could very much be interpreted that way, and uses her feminine wiles on him. And each time Gawain does not succumb. Um, so, but each day he does get kisses from her and repays those to the Lord, and the Lord takes it all in kind. Gawain doesn't mention where they come from, but um, they both have a good, amiable relationship with each other at this point in time. However, something different happens on the third day. Gawain is also gifted something from the lady, because the lady knows he's going to be leaving. And she tries to give him rich treasures, and Gawain turns them down. Rightfully so. But she also thrusts upon him something that, if he wears it, would prevent him from being harmed. Or at least that's what she tells him. And this one tempts him because he knows what's coming. He knows he's about to suffer a blow. And the crux of the third part is that Gawain accepts this, but does not tell the Lord. So he breaks his word on sharing everything that he receives throughout the day. Now, this is going to come into play in the fourth part, But it's not surprising that this is something that Gawain would want to keep to himself, would want to hold on to, would want to um, kind of hide because he wants to live. He knows what's coming. He's going to die. He's going to have his head chopped off by this Green Knight. If he's got any chance of surviving it, then he should take it because he doesn't want to just go to his deathbed. He wants to be able to go back to King Arthur and his court. And so, of course, he accepts it. He hides it underneath his armor. And so I'm going to read a part out of section 3. So this is one of the visits from the lady. She comes to the curtain and coyly peeps in. Gawain thought it good to greet her at once, and she richly repays him with her ready words, settles softly at his side, and suddenly she laughs, and with a gracious glance she begins on him thus: Sir, if you be Gawain, it seems a great wonder. A man so well-meaning and mannerly disposed cannot act in company as courtesy bids. And if one takes the trouble to teach him, 'tis all in vain, that lesson learned lately is lightly forgot. Though I painted it as plain as my poor wit allowed. What lesson, dear lady? He asked, all alarmed. I have been much to blame, if your story be true, yet my counsel was of kissing, came her answer then. Where favour has been found, freely to claim, as accords with the conduct of courteous knights. My dear, said the doughty man, dismiss the thought. Such freedom, I fear, might offend you much. It were rude to request if the right were denied, but none can deny you, said the noble dame. You are stout enough to constrain with strength, if you choose. Were any so ungracious as to grudge you aught, by heaven, said he, you have answered well. But threats never throve among those of my land, nor any gift not freely given, good though it be. I am yours to command, to kiss when you please, you may lay as you like, and leave off at will. With this the lady lightly bends, and graciously gives him a kiss. The two converse as friends of true love's trials and bliss. So, next passage here. I think we'll hit that as well. I should like, by your leave, said the lovely lady, if it did not annoy you, to know for what cause so brisk and so bold a young blood as you, and acclaimed for all courtesies becoming a knight. And name what knight you will, they are noblest esteemed for loyal faith and love, in life as in story, for to tell the tribulations of these true hearts. Why, 'tis the very title and text of their deeds, how bold knights for beauty have braved many a foe, suffered heavy sorrows out of secret love, and then valorously avenged them on villainous churls, and made happy ever after the hearts of their ladies. And you are the noblest knight known in your time. No household under heaven but has heard of your fame. And here by your side I have sat for 2 days, yet never has a fair phrase fallen from your lips. Of the language of love, not one little word, and you with that sweet vows sways women's hearts, and should show your winsome ways, and woo a young thing, and teach by some tokens the craft of true love. How, are you artless, whom all men praise? Or do you deem me so dull, or deaf to such words? Fie, fie, in hope of pastimes new, I have come where none can spy. Instruct me a little, do, while my husband is not near by. God love you, gracious lady, said Gawain then, it is pleasure surpassing and peerless joy, that one so worthy as you would willingly come and take the time and trouble to talk with your knight, and content you with his company. It comforts my heart. But to take to myself the task of telling of love, and touch upon its texts and treat of its themes, to one that I know well, wields more power, and that art by a half than 100 such, as I am where I live, or am like to become. It were folly, fair dame, in the first degree, and all that I am able, my aim is to please, as in honour behooves me, and am evermore your servant heart and soul, so save me our Lord. Thus she tested his temper and tried many a time, whatever her true intent, to entice him to sin. But so fair was his defence that no fault appeared, nor evil on the other hand, but only bliss. They knew, they linger and laugh awhile. She kisses the knight so true, takes leave in the comeliest style, and departs without more ado. So that is one of the tempting scenes by the lady. And as you can see, she was very much putting on, uh, trying to convince him, hey, why are you being so chaste? Why not do what I want you to do? Um, but Gawain says, no way. He resists it all. So good on him, right? And so he gets the girdle, and we go into part 4, where we have the morning of the encounter. And he's taken to the Chapel Perilous, where the Green Knight reigns. And he gets in there and is told to basically, hey, welcome back. You're here to get your blow. And Gawain, of course, is a little confident because of the girdle that he received, but at the same time, not fully trusting to it. And so the knight goes to lay down a blow and stops. And does it a second time. Goes to lay down a blow, makes it all dramatic, and stops. And at this point in time, Gawain's, getting a little frustrated. Hey, I did one blow nice and clean. Here you've pretended to do to me, and just get it over with. And so the third blow comes, and it nicks Gawain's neck. And the Green Knight reveals that for 3 days you stayed in the castle, and so you have gone through 3 blows to repay you for your deeds. You were honest the first 2 days, but on the 3rd day you hid something from me. And so Gawain ends up with a little scar, and as a reminder goes off and bears that girdle to Arthur's court outside to where everyone can see it, so he can tell the tale of how he encountered the Green Knight and was repaid for him valuing his life and for not sharing the presence of the girdle with the lord of the castle. And it makes for a wonderful tale. It's a very supernatural tale. The Green Knight is definitely a supernatural thing. If I recall correctly, it is kind of a piece of witchcraft by Morgana, who was one of the people present in that castle. And so I'm going to read a part out of part 4. The grim man in green gathers his strength, heaves high the heavy axe to hit him the blow. With all the force in his frame he fetches it aloft, with a grimace as grim as he would grind him to bits. Had the blow he bestowed been as big as he threatened, a good knight and gallant had gone to his grave. But Gawain, at the great as an axe glanced up aside, as down it descended with death-dealing force, and his shoulders shrank a little from the sharp iron. Abruptly the brawny man breaks off the stroke, and then reproved with proud words that prince among knights. You are not Gawain the glorious, the Green Man said, that never fell back on the field in the face of a foe, and now you flee for fear, and have felt no harm. Such news of that knight I have never heard yet. I moved not a muscle when you made to strike, nor cavilled at the cut in King Arthur's house. My head fell to my feet, yet steadfast I stood, and you, all unharmed, are wholly dismayed. Wherefore the better man I, by all odds, must be. Said Gawain, strike once more, I shall neither flinch nor flee, but if my head falls to the floor, there is no mending me. But go on, man, in God's name, get to the point. Deliver me my destiny, and do it out of hand. For I shall stand to the stroke, and stir not an inch, till your axes hit home. On my honor I swear it. Have at thee, then, said the other, and heaves it aloft, and glares down as grimly as he had gone mad, and made a mighty feint, but marred not his hide. Withdrew the axe adroitly before it did damage. Gawain gave no ground, nor glanced up aside, but stood still as a stone, or else a stout stump that is held in hard earth by 100 roots. Then merrily does he mock him, the man all in green. So now you have your nerve again, I needs must strike. Uphold the high knighthood that Arthur bestowed, and keep your neck bone clear, if this cut allows. Then was Gawain gripped with rage, and grimly he said, Why, thrash away, tyrant! I tire of your threats. You make such a scene, and you frighten yourself. Said the green fellow, In faith so fiercely you speak, that I shall finish this affair, nor further grace allow. He stands prepared to strike, and scowls with both lip and brow. No marvel if the man mislike, who can hope no rescue now. All right, and so skipping just a tiny bit forward, here comes the actual blow and the response to it. He lowers the long axe and leans on it there, sets his arm in the head and the haft on the earth, and beholds the bold knight that bides there afoot. How he faces him fearless, fearful in arms, and plies him with proud words, it pleases him well. Then once again gaily to Gawain he calls, and in a loud voice and lusty delivers these words. Bold fellow, on this field your anger forbear, no man has made demands here in manner uncouth, nor done save as duly determined at court. I owed you a hit, and you have it. Be happy herewith. The rest of my rights here I freely resign. Had I been a bit busier at buffet, perhaps I could have dealt more directly and done you some harm. First I flourished with a feint in frolicsome mood, and left your hide unhurt, and here I did well. By the fair terms we fixed on the first night, and fully and faithfully followed accord, gave over all your gains as a good man should. A second feint, sir, I assigned for the morning. You kissed my comely wife, each kiss you restored. For both of these there behooved but 2 feint blows by right. True men pay what they owe, no danger then in sight. You failed at the third throw, so take my tap, Sir Knight. For that is my belt about you, the same braided girdle that my wife it was that wore it. I know well the tale. And the count of your kisses and the conduct too, and the wooing of my wife, it was all my scheme. She made a trial of a man most faultless by far, of all that ever walked over the white earth. As pearls to white peas, the more precious and prized, so is Gawain in good faith to other gay knights. Yet you lacked, sir, a little in loyalty there. But the cause was not cunning, nor courtship either, but that you loved your own life, the less then to blame. The other stout knight in a study stood long a while, so gripped with grim rage that his great heart shook. All the blood of his body burned in his face as he shrank back in shame from the man's sharp speech. The first words that fell from the fair knight's lips, Accursed be a cowardly and covetous heart. In you is villainy and vice and virtue laid low. Then he grasps the green girdle and lets go the knot, hands it over in haste, and hotly he says, Behold there my falsehood, I'll hap it betide. Your cut taught me cowardice, care for my life. And coveting came after, contrary both to largesse and loyalty belonging to knights. Now I am faulty and false, that fearful was ever of disloyalty and lies. Bad luck to them both in greed. I confess, knight, in this place most dire is my misdeed. Let me gain back your good grace, and hereafter I shall take heed. So we've got Gawain running into the night, getting repaid in kind. And it becomes a merry jest, and other knights of King Arthur's court end up wearing a girdle in remembrance of Gawain's adventure. It becomes a huge joke to all of the court, as you would expect in something like King Arthur's court. So hopefully you enjoyed Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, regardless of which translation you read. It's a wonderful poem. It truly is one of those that I could never revisit often enough. And there's another great Gawain poem out there. And I'll probably make a video on Poetry Thursday next week to share a little bit of that one and to provide a link to it for those that are interested. I won't spoil what that's going to be about yet, but if you enjoyed Sir Gawain and want more Gawain adventures, um, some people hold him as their favorite of all of King Arthur's knights, and this poem and one other are the reason why. And his deeds are far more relatable than somebody like Lancelot, who's all about greatness and going behind Arthur's back and you know being with Guinevere and their forbidden love and all of that. Um, Lancelot gets idolized and hero worshipped a lot, but Gawain's got a lot of good merit to him. Um, so thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you have any questions about the poem that you'd like me to help clear up, feel free to leave a message, a comment, hop on my Discord. We can talk about it there. Otherwise, have a wonderful day. And, yeah, thank you for coming by for Poetry Thursday.